Vale. Bueno, voy a intentar ser breve, pero bueno, sé que...
I try to be brief. I try. I said I try. So, we are not going to show any product, any new service. We are going to present an analysis that we've done on some solution, tools, possibilities, realities of the gvSIG ecosystem in the road sector, especially in the management of roads. So I think that this is something that might be very important because it is the future for the road sector in our country. So we call it gvSIG ecosystem because ecosystem is a word, it's a global word. We have designed lots of projects in the gvSIG environment, and all these projects have brought very interesting items for the project, and here we thought that we wanted to be a bit more global. So in ICARTO, we've been working with Carto Lab and with the participation of other projects and reading other articles from other conferences, as you will see during my presentation. So here we have the different points that I would like to talk about during my presentation. First, why am I doing this presentation? Why are we presenting such a topic right now? I would say that we had to do it. Well, after the last meeting last year, we thought it might be interesting. Last year during gvSIG conferences, there was a kind of embryos to design a new way to manage road in Spain and the different factors in the road sector to try to bring a solution, an answer to the needs expressed by the managers. Obviously, it's very difficult to cover all those needs, but at least we identify the need, to try to do it. So it was very important to know our current situation, and last year we've been giving some information about the situation, but we didn't do a formal analysis of the state of the art. So this is what we would like to do with this presentation. There are different gvSIG projects linked to the road sector because, the road is a territorial element, it's a first-class element. So the majority of the territories where we are living are being modeled and profiled by all these roads that we are building. They represent the borders of our territories. So the majority of the geo information, geodata, are collecting those road parameters. This is not analysis that I should do because I'm coming from the business world and I'm collaborating with a laboratory. We have done different road projects, so obviously we are here to say that our projects are better than others, but I will try to be as objective as possible, even if it's not always easy. I'm coming from Galicia. It is, the third presentation coming from A Coruña. And I have this, I will give this focus to my presentation because, that region is the region I know better. At the same time, one more time, I'm telling you, this is a subjective study and it's a non-specialist study because in general, I'm not working with the maintenance of roads. I'm not an expert in road preservation. So sorry if I commit any mistake on that topic. So we are going to start with the management of roads. What do we understand when we say management of roads? It might sound easy, but it's interesting to remember exactly what that term means. Carlos Casas is an expert on that. It means Well, the preservation of the road means all these tasks whose aim is to restore the quality of the road, to maintain it. And I'm not only talking about the road itself, the different lanes, but we have also other elements because on each side of the road, we have also some areas that are part of the road. Those extra lane, those emergency lane, when I started to study all the elements included in the design of a road, I was very surprised. I was not expecting all these elements. In some places, we have inventories of 80 tables with different elements of the road. We have more than 80 elements composing the road: vertical, horizontal, lights element, fences, etc., etc. There are so many elements that we have to take into account and that we have to include in the database, and we have also to design how we are going to manage all these elements. They are critical, and if we have any incidences with those elements, well, they should be taken into account previously in the table. What are the different operations that a manager has to face when he's managing a road? Well, normally those road operators have to face 4 blocks of elements of operation that have to be managed when managing roads. We have the road activities, the quality of the road to ensure that vehicles can circulate without any problem on those roads. We have to control incidents and accidents. Like, for example, here we have an incident. We see that the billboard has been, destroyed, and the road signal that we see here has been hit by a car. The accidents are also very important, and they have a direct impact on the quality of the road. And we also have to talk about the winter condition. You know that during winter, the conditions are totally different, and we have to solve those problems immediately. We have to have that capacity, that flexibility to communicate and to react. We have to have an interoperability between the different agencies. You have to be ready in the long run to react. Then we have another block. It is the preservation activities using the GIS. We need to have a good inventory of the concrete, of the materials of the road in itself. We have to know its deterioration factor and percentage, and we have to include that in the information system to give a solution to. Then we have the use and defense activities of the road. It's a bit weird name. It seems that the road has to be protected from the impact of external agent. You cannot put anything on the margin of the road. There is a legislation, and there are lots of activities that are not permitted, that are not allowed along the road, so you have to control that. Or the slots, or the houses that are also affected by the very existence of the road. And finally, the last block were the activities that are supplying the management system with new elements. We have to see how all these elements are going to be integrated in the system in order to give a full and complete information. First perspective when dealing with the preservation of the road can be seen in the project of the general budget for the Spanish state in 2013. It represents 4 billion euros, 800 for the preservation, and 1,000 million for the construction of new roads. So when we say 818 million euros, in the budget for the preservation, it means that we are using that budget for the staff, but also for the materials that we are using. But we are spending almost, well, the same amount for preservation than for new roads. We are going to analyze those figures to see if they are high or low figures. Well, let's compare it. If we have a look at the new plan that's designed by the Public Work and Infrastructure Minister, one of the main considerations set by this plan is that the road network is consolidated. It means that the investment is much more oriented towards the preservation. It means that we really need mechanism to preserve better and to maintain better the roads, because we are going to preserve more kilometers of road than new roads. So we will have a model for the preservation of and management of new roads, and we are also going to use existing capacities for the existing roads in Spain, designing a new model for their preservation. So the technologies are going to be used very much for the preservation of the roads in Spain, and we are going to launch R&D project, and we are going to invest in different materials and technologies for this preservation objective. Here we see the evolution of budget, so that you see a bit more if the future amount that will be invested on road is a high amount or a low amount. We see that the budget for the Public Work and Infrastructure Ministry has decreased drastically, especially for roads between 2009 and 2011. We see, especially for the construction of new roads in the preservation chapter, we see that the reduction is a bit smaller, it's a bit softer, because if we don't build new roads, we have a need to preserve those existing roads. Now, if we compare the full investment against the investment for the preservation of existing road, well, we see that the curve is slighter. We have an increase, a slight increase in the investment on preservation mechanism against a clear drop for the new constructions. So now we know a bit what is the state of the art for our roads in Spain. Well, obviously, this will lead to a situation in which road operators and public administration will express new needs. Right now, we are not answering all these problems, or we are not satisfying all these needs. We have identified some existing tools that are helping in giving a solution and a service to the needs for the management and preservation of the road. We see here an example of those existing tools. We have been working with them in Spain. For example, we have Inca, T-Rex, Terravial. Inca is a tool. When I discover it, visually speaking, it's very attractive, especially for vertical and horizontal signals. You see, it's a geographical information system allowing us to see very easily all the vertical and horizontal signals that we can find on the roads in Spain, and that need maintenance, preservation, or renewal. So the Ministry of Public Work and Infrastructure requires that information in order to make sure that the signals are where they should be and in a very good condition. But it's a closed system. Tables as they are, we cannot modify them, we cannot custom them, and it has very complex interaction with other program. I can export to Shape, I can load it into GIS, all these information from Inca, but there's not a unique system that Inca can use and can transfer those statistics into another program. There are always intermediary steps that we have to follow, and it makes it a bit more complicated. We have also Terex. Terex is a tool that's being used to do the inventory of all the elements that we find on the road. It's working quite well, but the connection with the Geo information system is quite limited. This is a database. It's linked with Google Maps. You can load pictures in it, and it's also linked with map windows, but this is not a geographical information system as we understand it, and the integration with other systems, with other softwares, is a bit complex. So we have no real software complying with all the requirements. So this is why there is a need. If we are looking for one, right now there's no existing software for that purpose. They are very specific, they are not global, they are very difficult to adapt, to modify, or their licensing cost is very high, and we know that this is a burden. And obviously the majority of administration are not ready to pay those licensing amounts because of the financial situation. So there is a lack of efficiency, of quality that we might try to solve with other alternatives. So what are the real needs for a public administration, a company managing the roads, preserving the roads? Well, if we follow the categories that we had established at the beginning, we have all these needs, and we have also those the needs that we have seen at the beginning, but also some new needs. For example, we need to have modules that will help us to manage the incident, the accidents that might happen on the road, modules for the management of traffic, management of the vehicle types. We also need to calculate the different routes to see a bit how to give a solution to an incident, and also to manage the fleets. Might have a fleet of vehicles that are always traveling inside the same region. I might need to know where, what is the position of that fleet, during their day-to-day. So we need much more than an inventory of data model. We need also a module for the management of the inventory itself, for the management of actions, for a tool to assess the patrimony, the national heritage that is present on the road. We need one to manage the images and some connection tools, etc. But we also have all these needs that we have to add to this information system in order to satisfy the needs of a manager. We need a catalog, we need advanced consultation, we need dynamic segmentation of the road function. some report management modules, the generation of report, alert system, cost analysis, quality indicators, exchange of data tools. Without all these requisites, we cannot speak, we cannot talk, we cannot create a true information system. So now let's have a look at the offer made by gvSIG ecosystem. We might find some new tools, so we have decided to study those that we knew before, answering those needs that we have just mentioned. gvSIG is the basic support, is the basis that we are going to use, but also gvSIG Mobile and gvSIG Mini. And obviously the network extensions, lots of the calculation in relationship with management will use the gvSIG Mini. And we have also use gvSIG Carreteras, gvSIG Roads, that has been developed a few years ago. And thanks to that, we have some modules for the management of accident. We have a catalog of the different roads. In the WG Edit extension developed in Italy for roads and path, we have another catalogs of roads, and we have very interesting uses here. You have a screenshot of the different forms. They are quite complete. They can be found in gvSIG Carreteras. You can print some report that can be used by the technicians with a series of analysis tools with charts and etc. And for the gvSIG WJ Edit, we have another catalog. It's very simple to export to different web services. We have the 8 components. We have topologic elements and tools that are very useful. Other tools that we are also using are gvSIG Audasa. It was called before gvSIG JEX, but now it's growing, and this is why we have changed the name. It is managing, the margin along the roads. We have a little prototype for the management of incidents, and we are also starting to work on the management of inventories. It's impossible to fulfill all these needs, but we are trying to do it even to those extra needs that have been identified. We have been working with the municipality of Lugo. They have their own dynamic catalog, and it's quite well documented. It's quite interesting, with very interesting function when reacting to a situation or when consulting information. Here we have a screenshot of one of the forms that we have for gvSIG Audasa. Here you see, for example, one of the situation of a road. You see the file, and this file is full of information for the technician. And here we have the catalogs of paths and roads from the municipality of Lugo, with a few clicks, where we see that the concrete material of that road has been degraded, or is not in a very well condition, or has just been replaced, or is made of this or that component. If we study the 4 products plus other products bringing some solution that we might use, we see that with gvSIG Carreteras and with other modules, we can at least offer something to a road manager. with gvSIG, it might give a good answer to its needs one way or another. It could cover the majority of its needs. As far as preservation is concerned, for the management system, we see that gvSIG Audasa is offering a better coverage for the preservation with interesting solutions. It's not the best solution, but at least it's a good one. And for the management system, we have some inspection modules, but I think that we could improve it. As far as so for the cross-section needs, well, we can provide a management system taking into account the different needs, but we need to work a bit more on that to make it more global and less specific. We have data like the one that you see on the slide. 2/3 of the needs could be solved with the tools that we find in gvSIG. For cross-section, 19% could be solved with gvSIG. And for all the projects that we have analyzed, no one is covering more than 30% of the preservation and maintenance tasks on the roads. If we combine them all, we would have more than what we need. We would reach 119%, but unfortunately, well, we cannot combine them all. So only half the needs are covered with the gvSIG tool, without taking into account that the different tools are not compatible. I cannot use Carreteras and Audasa and merge them. No, I cannot do that. So I need to use one and then use the other. It's not very easy. We can try it, but there is still 50% of the needs that are not answered. Conclusion of what I've just said, well, obviously we need free solution for the management of preservation of roads. And they have to be free. They should be free. And we don't see any public leadership from the ministry in order to defend and to create such a tool. So right now it's a bit the jungle in that sector, and we need to invest work and effort in order to create a gvSIG ecosystem that would be able to give a true answer to the incidents on the road. In gvSIG road is not enough. gvSIG Carretera, gvSIG roads is not enough. We need something else. We need to have a versatility project, and it cannot fail with the version that we have right now. We have still some problems that we are trying to solve, obviously. And I'm sure that we will make it happen, but we have to take that into account because this might lead to a big failure in a project of road management if we are not taking this into account. So we might build a road map, and we should also define the packages that we need to develop and those that we need to share. And to do so, we have to strengthen the gvSIG roads project, waiting for the institutional and sectorial participation, trying to get the internationalization of the project at the state level and at other countries' level. I'm sure we can find collaborators, partners from other countries that could help us design this project. That's it. This is the analysis I wanted to share with you. It has been done in collaboration with Cartolab and with the help of some of our partners and clients, and from the road managing association in Galicia. It has helped a lot. So thank you very much. I'm sorry if I've been too long. I said I was going to be brief. Well, I failed.
Muchas gracias, Gonzalo. ¿Alguna pregunta?
Thank you very much, Gonzalo. I don't know if you have any question in the room. Yes, we have 2 questions. Please wait for the microphone. I'm sorry, without the mic.
La respuesta es sí. O sea, lo que pasa es que el sistema que estamos haciendo en Audasa, aquí es que se ve un poco mal.
Here we don't see it very well, but well, you see that the menus are being increased. The menu that we were using a year ago was a restricted menu, and now we are developing the road margin menu, the slope or the banks menu, and we are also including other inventory elements. Each element has its own form, its own systems. This is why it takes lots of time to develop them. And it is helping the project to evolve, because the improvement that we are bringing to that project are very much linked to the users, to the client, to the managers, because those are expressing their needs, and we are trying to solve the situation thanks to this through communication between the expert from Audasa and, well, the gvSIG experts. When we are publishing the result of those work, would it be easy and simple to see them, to have access to those results? Well, I hope so. I hope that it will be publicly published, but unfortunately, we never have time to do it. For example, the first model that we designed is already published. The data model has to be emptied from data and create a public version so that you can see it and you can download it. Right now, it is not, well, the situation is not the case, but we would like to. But right now, it's not possible. Well, I'm not going to lie to you. Thank you very much. Thank you for the project. We had another question there. It's a question for Fran Peñarrubia. When you're exporting the charts, you've been talking about PDF. You haven't been talking about SVG format. Yes, we can also do it. SVG is also a possibility. Another question? I would ask Gonzalo if you have taken into account the participation of the users when you're managing the incidents on the roads, how the users can notify, can communicate, can collaborate, can alert you on some incidents, for example. No, we have not. No, we have not taken that into account. No, we have not. We have not done that because, well, the Audasa is requesting that system for its own incidents. They have their own tools to collect the information through their users. They have their own ways to collect the information, and they want to put that information in the system. And the system will use a database linked with other system, and it's a very integral system. At the users level, well, we are not working on that. We would love to, because we think that it is important to give tools to allow the direct communication from the users to the system. When I'm driving on the road, well, I would be able to communicate directly. I think this is one of the requirements that the road manager is not expressing, but the citizen is expressing that need. Right now, we are answering the needs of a company, but we have not analyzed what are the requirements, the needs of the citizen. I'm sure that they are different, they exist, and we should work with them too. Well, we don't have more time for more questions, so now we are going, thank you very much, Gonzalo. Now we are going to listen to the last presentation of the session made by Paul Arago from Jaume I University in Castellón. We are going to listen to gvSIG education for disaster risk management within an international cooperation project.